It seems fairly clear to me that the Passover, happening during Christ's death and resurrection, and the Feast of Weeks, Pentecost, seem to have played some sort of prophetic role and perhaps are meant to help us understand these events more clearly by the feast that they are connected with. Do you believe that the Feast of Booths will play a similar role in some future event since it has not been connected with anything as significant as the Passover and the Feast of Weeks?
Yeah, I mean, you have Passover, of course. You have the typology issue. Christ is the Passover lamb, so that's kind of obvious. And it has nothing to do with the future. That's, the crucifixion. The Feast of Weeks, Pentecost, again, that's the new covenant coming of the Spirit. That's what happens in Acts 2, so that's pretty easy. As far as the Feast of Booths, Sukkot, I would the best way I can answer this is to say, go listen to episode 206. We did an episode called the 70 Bulls of Sukkot, 70 Bulls of the Feast of Booths, and it zeroed in on a passage in Numbers 29, 12 through 34 that scholars have noticed that there were 70 bulls offered in that passage. And, since you get 70, it draws attention to, the Deuteronomy 32 worldview, the Table of Nations, and all that kind of stuff. So we went through all of that material. Critical scholars like to say that this part of the Feast of Booths celebration, these were 70 offerings to the gods of the nations, sort of to pacify them. So you have this sort of residual polytheism going on in Numbers 29. I don't buy that at all. I think, again, for the detailed reasons, go listen to episode 206. But I think the 70 bulls are offered not to the gods of the nations, but to commemorate deliverance from all other gods hostile to Israel, because that's what the Feast of Booths is about. Commemorates the deliverance through the wilderness. The wilderness is the bad place. The wilderness is where under dominion of hostile supernatural forces. This is why when Israel goes through the wilderness, the presence of Yahweh is with the camp. Outside the camp is a different story. So God guides them to the promised land, the portion, Yahweh's portion for his people, Israel, and surrounded by all the other nations that are under dominion of other gods because of Babel and Deuteronomy 32, all that stuff. So what I think is going on with this passage in Numbers 29 is that the bulls are offered to commemorate Yahweh's deliverance, his triumph over all other gods. He kept his people safe. It has nothing to do with offering to foreign gods. I think that's just, a really significant misreading of the text. So we're not offering the bulls to kiss up to the other gods or to ask Yahweh for, a show of common grace to those other gods or anything like that. You'll read this in rabbinic material. Again, just listen to episode 206. But the whole idea is to thank Yahweh for his deliverance. So that is how I'll handle that here. Again, for details on Sukkot, and there are passages, again, that connect the observation. There are passages that connect the observation of Sukkot with, again, a future time when the nations are regathered and reclaimed and all that. So again, I tie that all in with the Deuteronomy 32 worldview, the reclaiming of the nations. So for the details, episode 206.